Enjoy learning!
For this video tutorial, you will learn about relation and function. So I hope this video will help you to fully understand our lesson for today. Let us have the introduction part. The standard form of the equation of the line is ax plus by is equal to c. To graph the line, you need to find the ordered pairs xy that will satisfy the given equation. X is our first coordinate and y is our second coordinate. Hence, there is a relation that exists between these two elements. That one may be dependent to the other. The first element, x, of the ordered pair is called abscissa. And the second element, y, is what we call our ordinate. The set of abscissa is what we call the domain. Meaning to say, if the abscissa is the domain, therefore our domain is our x-coordinate. While the set of coordinate or ordinate is the range. Meaning to say, our range is our y-coordinate. Thus, a relation is a set of ordered pairs. So, a relation between the domain and range can be presented in different ways. So, on our next slide, we will discuss the different ways on how relation between the domain and range can be presented. And don't forget, our domain is our x and our range is our y. Okay, the first way on how relation can be presented is through mapping diagram. So through mapping diagram, you can easily determine if it illustrates a relation or a function. So I have here three mapping diagrams on which we can easily determine if the given is a function or simply a relation. Okay, so let us talk about one-to-one correspondence. So as you can see, we have the student and the ID number. So student corresponds to ID number. So let us analyze the content. So we have Mary to 001, that is Mary to 001, John to 025. We have Kim to 154. So as you can see on our one-to-one corresponded from the word itself, one-to-one, one domain or one element in our domain corresponds to an element on our range. And in that case, it shows that it is a function because exactly one element in the domain corresponds to one element in our range. Okay, how about many to one correspondence? Many to one. Okay, so let us analyze student to class rank. We have Mary to 1, Susan to 3, Kenneth to 3, and Roger to 3. So that is our representation. Okay, so as you can see, many to one correspondence is also a function. Why function? Because every element on our domain corresponds to an element on our range. So, tigi-tigisa siyang naka-corresponds. Never na ulit ang ating domain. Even, meron tayong repetition sa ating range. Alin ba ang ating nauulit sa range? 3. It's okay. Because, if our domain corresponds to one element on our range, that is also a function. Kasi, hindi naman tayo nagkaroon ng repetition kay domain. At kapag walang repetition kay domain, that is what we call function. Okay, last, we have one-to-many correspondence. So, teacher and student. Mrs. Peñas to Mars, Mrs. Peñas to Kim, and Mrs. Peñas to John, and Mrs. Peñas to Sonia. So, as you can see on our one-to-many correspondence, it is clearly illustrated that it is not a function. It is simply a relation. Bakit? Because the domain corresponds to more than one element on our range. So, ilang beses na ulit ang ating domain? Very good. So, 4 times siyang naulit. So, there is a repetition on our element. So, on our domain element. At kapag may repetition sa ating domain or so sa ating x, therefore, that is not a function. It is simply a relation. Okay. So, the second way on how relation can be presented is through ordered pairs. So, this is a set of x and y ordered pair. X is always the first element or our domain, and y is our second element or what we call the range. Okay, so through ordered pairs, we can easily determine also if the given is a function or simply a relation. Okay, so I have here an examples. So let the domain be set of the numbers. Ito ang ating mga domain. So since itong domain natin, ito yung nagre-represent as x. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're about to make a set of ordered pairs that satisfy the following conditions. The first condition, ang una daw set natin, ang range daw ay twice the domain. So we need to twice our given domains. The second set is the range is 1 more than the domain. So meaning to say, we need to add 1 to each domain. And the third set is the range is greater than the domain. So meaning to say, dapat yung range natin ay mas malaki sa ating mga given domains. Okay, so let us start with the first set or the first condition. Range is twice the domain. So here is our solution. So we need to twice our domain. We have 2 times 1, we have 2. We have 2 times 2, we have 4. 3 times 2, we have 6. 4 times 2, we have 8. 5 times 2, we have 10. Okay, naunawaan ba ang ginawa natin? Okay, so ang ginawa lang natin ay tinwice lang natin. When we say twice, minultiply natin sa 2 ang ating domain. Alin ba ang domain natin? Itong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ito yun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is our range? Ito yung range natin. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Paano nakuha ang 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? We need to twice our domain. Okay, next. Second condition. Range is 1 more than the domain. So, meaning to say, we just need to add 1 to our domain. So, ito ulit ang domain natin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, let us add 1. 1 plus 1, 2. 2 plus 1, 3. 3 plus 1, 4. 4 plus 1, 5. 5 plus 1, 6. Okay, so let us have the last condition. We have range is greater than the domain. So since itong greater than the domain, madami to, we just need to add a number which is greater than the domain. So dapat mas malaki yung ating range kesa sa ating domain. Okay, so since our range is greater than the domain, we just need to write a value of our range which is greater than to our domain. So since 1 ito, ang nilagay natin na range is 2 because 2 is greater than 1. So sa ating 1, madami tayong pwedeng ilagay. 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 1 and 5, 1 and 6, so on and so forth. So pwedeng isa-isa nating ilagay just like 2, diba? 2 ang domain natin. Pwedeng 2 and 3, kasi mas malaki ang 3 kay 2. Pwedeng 2 and 7, pwedeng 2 and 8. Basta mas malaki siya ang value kay 2. Then, so on and so forth, hanggang sa makarating sa 5 and 6, 5 and 7, 5 and 8, so on and so forth. Okay, so the range is dependent variable. Bakit dependent variable? Because its value depends upon the value of the domain. Kung ano yung value ng ating range, dumedepende siya sa value ng ating domain. Kagaya nitong set A. Sabi sa set A, range is twice the domain. Kung ano yung value ng ating domain, ito twice lang natin. That will be the value of our range. Okay, so now, let us identify the given sets of ordered pairs if it is a function or not. So set A, 1 and 2, 2 and 4, 3 and 6, 4 and 8, 5 and 10. So the technique is just look at our domain. Kung may nakita kayo ng repetition sa ating domain, it is already not a function. It is a relation. So as you can see, wala naman tayong repetition sa ating x. Therefore, that is a function. Okay. Next, set B. Set B, 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 5 and 6. Okay. So one element on our domain corresponds to one element on our range. So that is also a function. How about set C? Okay, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 2 and 7, 5 and 6. So is that a function or simply a relation? Very good. So that is not a function. It is simply a relation. Why? Because that is what we call the many correspondence. Okay. Okay. The third way on how relation between domain and range can be presented is through table of values or tables. and equations. So the relationship between the domain and range can be illustrated using table of values or equation. So here we have the first example. Construct table of values that will illustrate the cost of number of notebooks if the price is 12 pesos. So meaning to say, each notebook costs 12 pesos. So the first thing that we need to do is to have a representation. So we should write let X be the number of notebook and Y is the cost of the notebooks. So meaning to say, Y is dependent on the number of notebooks. Kasi yung presyo natin or the total cost will be our dependent variable. Dumidepende siya kung ilan ba yung ating notebooks because each notebook costs 12 pesos. Okay, so let us construct a table of values. So for the table of values, we have X and Y, syempre, the domain and the range. So sabi dyan, ang X daw ang number of notebooks. So just write 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, or let us write X. Kasi nga, that will be the number of notebooks. Now, each notebook costs 12 pesos. Meaning to say, kung isa lang yung notebook natin, 12 pesos yung ating price. That is our Y. Because Y is the cost of our notebooks. And then, if the number of notebooks is 2, therefore, the total cost will be 24. Because 2 times 12, that is 24. Then 3, we have 3 times 12, we have 36. 4 times 12, we have 48. So on and so forth. And then, for our representation, it becomes 12x. Okay, because 12 times the number of notebook. 12 pesos times x. So, 12x. Okay, now, what will be our equation? So, our equation will be y is equal to 12x. Okay, why 12x? Why? That is the total cost of the notebooks. How much ang ating notebook per piece? 12. Ano ang representation ng number of notebook? X. So, y is equal to 12x. Ganito lang po ang paggawa ng ating equation. Paano naman kung wala nitong scenario na ito? Ito lang ang binigay, table lang. I-access niyo yung table. Kagaya nito, ang y natin ay 12. Ang ating x ay 1. Okay. So, meaning to say, makukuha natin ang value ng y kapag minultiply natin ng 12 kay 1. Okay. 12 times 1, we have 12. Okay, how about this? 12 times 2, we have 24. Kaya ang representation natin ng equation natin ay y is equal to 12x. 12 times the value of x. 12 times 3, 36. 12 times 4, 48. Okay? So, let us have the last way on how relation between domain and range can be presented. So, that is through graph. Functions or relations can be illustrated through graphs. You can graph by plotting the points on the rectangular coordinate plane. You can take the points from the set of ordered pairs, table of values, or equation, or vice versa. So, through our graphs, we can determine the ordered pairs. Paano natin ma-determine? Just locate the point and name the point na nandito sa ating graphs. So here, from this graph, we can generate an ordered pairs through table of values. Pwede yung ordered pairs, ilagay natin sa table of values. So, let us locate the points. This is the first point. What do you think is the ordered pairs of this point? So, siya ay nakatapat sa ating x na 1. And then, ang kanyang corresponding y value or y coordinate is 2. So, that is 1 and 2. Next. How about this point? We have the x-coordinate is 2, then the y-coordinate is 4. Okay, so let us check dito sa ating table of values. 1 and 2, 2 and 4. 1 is our x, y is our 2. 2 is our x, y is our 4. How about the third coordinates? So the value of x is 3, the value of y is 6, which is correct. Now, so on and so forth, we have 4 and then 8. We have 5 and then 10. Now, if the domain is x, what will be our range? So, i-assess natin itong table na to para tayo ay makakreate ng equation. Ang x daw natin ay 1, pero ang range natin ay 2. Ang x natin ay 2, pero naging 4 ang ating range. Meaning to say, we need to twice the value of our x. Tingnan nga natin, 2 times 1, 2. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 3, 6. So therefore, ma-generate natin equation dito is 2 times the value of x, which is x. So therefore, our equation will be y is equal to 2x. So try nga natin i-substitute. Y is equal to, anong value ng x? 1. 2 times 1, 2. 2 times 2, 4. 2 times 3, 6. So therefore, that will be our equation. So ganun lang kadaling kumuha ng equation by assessing our table of values. Pwede rin naman tayo mag-assess ng ordered pairs. Diba pag ordered pairs, naka-open and close parenthesis, ganun din ang ating pag-assess. Kung graph, ganun din ang pag-assess natin. Okay, so don't forget that all functions are relations, but some relations are not functions. Okay, so I will repeat. All functions are relations, but some relations are not functions. Okay, so lahat ng yan ay relations. Pero hindi lahat ng relations ay functions. Kaya nga tayo natawag na function or simply relation. Okay, let us have the development part. When you say that y is a function of x, you can write it as y is equal to f of x, or y is equal to p of x. F of x, or this expression, is read as f of x. P of x, or this is p of x. So itong ating expression na to, that is what we call p of x. These are called function notation. This means that y is a function of x and that y depends on x. So ano ba yung tinatawag natin function notation? Ang function notation, nare-replace natin yung y. Ginagawa natin siyang f of x. Kaya siya tinawag na function notation. So, the dependent variable is y or f of x and the independent variable is x. So, laging dumidepende yung ating range sa ating domain. Okay. So, gaya nga sa paggawa ng table of values, the value of our range is always dependent to the value of our domain. Okay, let us evaluate the example under function notation. So we have y is equal to 3x plus 6. So as you can see, ang ating ginamit pa na variable dito is y. So since our topic is all about function notation, we need to change y to function x. So it should be f of x is equal to 3x plus 6. So we just need to replace y by f of x. After that, we can evaluate or we can find different values of x using our function notation. So here we have find f of 2 and f of negative 3. So in finding f of 2 and f of negative 3, we just need to substitute the value of x to our given function notation. So let us start with f of 2. We have f of 2 is equal to 3x plus 6. Copy lang natin. And then let us substitute f of 2 is equal to 3 times 2. Substitute 2 to our x, then plus 6. Okay. And then f of 2 is equal to 3 times 2. We have 6 plus 6. Then therefore, f of 2 is equal to 12. So f of 2 is equal to 12. That is the value of our f of 2. Let us have f of negative 3. Okay, let us substitute again. F of negative 3 is equal to 3x plus 6. Substitute 3. The value of x is negative 3 plus 6. We have 3 times negative 3, negative 9 plus 6. We have negative 3. So therefore, f of negative 3 is equals to negative 3. So, as easy as that. Ganun lang ang gagawin natin. We just need to substitute that to our function notation. But don't forget to rewrite that in slope-intercept form. But, if it is already written in slope-intercept form, wala na kayong gagawin kundi i-change na siya into function x. Okay. Okay, let us have the second example under function notation. we have negative x plus y minus 1 is equal to 0. So as you can see, it is not already written in slope-intercept form. So therefore, the first thing that we need to do is to change the equation into slope-intercept form. So how are we going to change it? So from our equation, we need to transpose negative x to the other side of the equation. We have negative 1 to the other side of the equation also. So yung ating y, magre-remain sa dito. Okay, so let us have y is equal to transpose negative x to the other side. So it becomes positive x. Negative 1 transpose to the other side, it becomes positive 1. Okay, so as you can see, it is already written in slope-intercept form. Let us proceed to our second step, which is changing y to function x. So it will be written in this form, f of x is equal to x plus 1. Okay, so after that, let us apply what we did on our first example, which is finding f of 2 and f of negative 3. So let us substitute the values of x, which is 2 and negative 3. We have f of 2 is equal to x plus 1, copy lang. And then let us substitute 2 to our variable x. We have 2 plus 1. And then let us perform the operation. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So therefore, f of 2 is equal to 3. Next, let us have f of negative 3. So f of negative 3 is equal to x plus 1. So let us substitute again negative 3 to our x. So we have negative 3 plus 6. So negative 3 plus 6, we have positive 3. So therefore, f of negative 3 is equal to 3. So ganyan lang ang gagawin para makuha nyo ang values ng ating function notation. Okay, now let us talk about how are we going to determine if the given graph is a function or not function. Okay, so we can determine if it is a function or simply a relation or not function using the vertical line test. So ito yung mga vertical line test. Okay, yan yun. This is the vertical line test. Now, okay. Now, on our first graph, ito yung ating pinaka-line. So, dumaan sa vertical line test. Ilang beses siyang nag-intersect? Okay, exactly 1 point. So, kapag ang ating vertical line test ay nag-intersect ng isang beses lamang or exactly 1 point, therefore, that is a function. Pero kapag siya nag-intersect ng more than 1, meaning to say that is not a function. So the graph is a function. There is only one point of intersection between the graph and the vertical line. So ito yun. Ito yung ating vertical line. Dumaan. Point of intersection, only 1. Next, we have the second graph. So may circle tayo dito. So dumaan ang ating vertical line test. How many intersections do we have? Okay. So meron tayong dalawang intersection. So therefore, that is not a function. How about the third graph? Yan yung graph natin. Dumaan sa vertical line test. How many point of intersections do we have? So we have exactly 1 point. That is also a function. Now, how are we going to find the domain and range if the given is graph? Okay, so as you can see dito sa graph na to, lahat ng domain natin syempre ay real numbers. Lahat. X such as X are all elements or elements are real numbers. Then our range, all real numbers din. So ganito ang isasagot nyo ha. Y such as Y are all or elements of real numbers. And then set of X such that X is an element of real numbers. Ito naman, Y such as Y is an element of real numbers. Now, how about the second graph? So, ang ating domain, ito yon. Diba? Ang domain natin, X yon. Ito. So, ang X natin, ito, X is greater than or equal to negative 3. Kasi diba, paglapit sa 0, paglaki ng value. Kaya, ang X ay greater than or equal to negative 3, but less than or equal to 3. Less than or equal to 3. How about the range? Y, ito yon, is greater than or equal to negative 3 kasi ito yung negative 3, hanggang doon. But, less than or equal to positive 3. Okay, ito yun. Next, let us have the last graph, our domain. So, ang domain natin ay lahat ng real numbers. Okay? And then, our range is also all real numbers. Kapag ganitong circle, may sinasakop lang siya, hanggang dun lang. Kaya tayo gumagamit ng greater than or equal and less than or equal. Okay, so that is how to determine if the given graph is a function or not function, and the process in order to find the domain and the range given the graph. Okay, so let us have the linear function. So on our linear function, we need to solve for the ordered pairs. Paano naman natin isusolve ang ordered pairs using our linear function? So, dito sa ating given, we have the tables. We have the values of x, binigay ang negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So, how are we going to find f of x? So, kagaya nga nung ginawa natin kanina sa function notation, we just need to substitute the value of x to our given equation or function. So, here, we just need to substitute negative 2 to our x. 2 times negative 2, we have negative 4, plus 3, we have negative 1. So on and so forth. So, kapag nakuha na natin ang values ng f of x, pwede na natin siyang ilagay dito as ordered pair. We have negative 2, negative 1, negative 1, 1, 0, 3, 1, and 5, 2, and 7. So, after that, kung siya na may nakagraph, ito na yun. So, how are we going to find the slope given the linear function? So, we can apply the rise over run. So, on our previous topics, on slope, on our first quarter, pwede natin gamitin ang rise over run. So, from point, negative 1 and 1, to point 1 and 5, how are we going to determine the slope? So, pwede natin apply ang rise over run. Ito yung may red. So, from here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That is our rise. How about our run? 1, 2. Kaya siya ay 4 and 2. 4 divided by 2, the answer is 2. So, the slope is positive when the line rises to the right. So, kapag ang ating graph ay rises from left to right, that is positive. Pero if the line falls to the right, then the slope is negative. So, kita nyo naman, from left to right, kaya siya ay positive. Okay, so ganun lang ang gagawin ha. Kapag walang values ng y, you just need to substitute the value of x to. Okay, so on our example number 2, given the graph of the function, construct table of values and then determine the function. So kagaya ng ginawa natin kanina, ito yung graph, we need to determine the values or ordered pairs through table of values. So dito, inilagay na siya sa table of values. Let's say, we have negative 3 and 7. We have negative 3 and then 7. Ito yun. Then we have negative 2 and 6. Ito yun. Negative 1 and 5. So that is 0, 4. Okay. We have 1 and 3. Yun. And then 2 and 2. So on and so forth. Now, instead of using the rise over run, to find the slope, you can use the slope formula, which is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So, ito din yung ating previous topic regarding slope. So, using negative 3 and 7, ito yon, and 0 and 4, the slope is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So, isa-substitute natin. We have 4, our y sub 2, yan. Our y sub 1, 7, kaya ito yun. Our x sub 2, 0. Our x sub 1, negative 3, kaya 0 minus negative 3. 4 minus 7, we have negative 3, then 0 plus 3, we have 3. Negative 3 divided by 3, the answer is negative 1. So, ganun din naman. Pwede rin naman kayo gumamit ng rise over run. So, using the slope-intercept form of a line, the function is f of x is equal to negative x plus 4. Okay. So, pwede nating ilagay dito as negative x plus 4 kasi ang value ng ating slope ay negative. So, negative x and then our b is 4. Now, you can check by substituting any value of x to the function. Suppose you use negative 2 as the value of x. Ito yun, negative 2. So, we have negative 2. Substitute natin, negative times negative 2. We have positive 2 plus 4. We have positive 6. So, ganun lang mag-create ng formula or ng ating function notation. Okay, so let us say a problem involving linear function. Suppose the bicycle rental at the Rizal Park is worth 20 pesos per hour. Your sister would like to rent a bicycle for amusement. So the first question is, how much will your sister have to pay if she would like to rent a bicycle for 1 hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours? Okay, kung ang per hour ay 20 pesos, kung ang 1 hour ay magiging 20 pesos. How about 2 hours? So it should be 40 pesos. So paano nyo nakuha ang 40 pesos? So it should be 2 times 20 because we need to multiply the number of hours to our rental per hour, which is 20 pesos. How about 3 hours? We have 3 times 20, we have 60. Then number 2, based on your answers in item 1, write ordered pairs in the form time and amount. Ang time natin, we have 1, 2, 3. Kaya siya ay 1, 2, 3. How about the amount? For 1 hour, 20. For 2 hours, 40. For 3 hours, 60. Okay, note. The correct ordered pair is 120, not 20 and 1 because the amount of bicycle rental is based or dependent on the numbers of hours rented. The number 3, base your answers in item 2. What is the domain and what is the range? So in the relation above, the domain is 1, 2, 3. While the range is 20, 40, 60. Ang domain natin, yun yung x. Ang ating range, yun yung ating y. The number 4, how are rental time and cost of rental related to each other? So number 4, the amount of the bicycle rental is dependent on the rental time. So, dumedepende yung ating amount na babayadan sa ating pagrenta doon sa ating oras na tayo ay rumenta. So, for number 5, so meron tayo ditong typographical, write linear function. So, ang linear function natin is f of x is equal to 20x or y is equal to 20x. Because we need to multiply 20 to the number of hours which is x. So, therefore, our function notation, our linear function is f of x is equal to 2x or 20x rather, or y is equal to 20x.